Yo, yo, yo. What up, my peoples? Good morning, good morning. Happy Tuesday, man. We got video gaming news, as we do every day. We'll kick it off with some video gaming news for this morning, December 19th. Then we'll work our way into, what should be day 9 of, Alan Wake 2. Cool? We're getting pretty deep in there in Alan Wake. We'll see what we have in store for today. Cool. It'll be a good day. We'll have a great day, as we always do. Let's go ahead and get started with video gaming news and see what's going on in the world that we love so much. Cool? Let's go. Let's do it. Love that Java. Okay, this is unfortunate. We knew this was going to be coming. We touched the other day, a couple days ago, on the fact that Insomniac had been hacked by a ransomware group. A big part of what they got and they were trying to get paid for was employee data, apparently, as well as Wolverine information. So, it's unfortunate. But here it is, and we'll take a look at it, okay? So, the timeline of future Insomniac games releases has been leaked with that information, and the Wolverine content as well, or information. Okay, scalpers are selling the day before for $200. What? Yeah, Steam's year in review is now available for everybody's account. I actually already posted mine in our Discord, so you can take a look at it if you want. It's just a cool kind of summary. It's pretty in-depth summary of what you've done through Steam over the year. You know, I think the thing that is always going to come into play here is, you know, it only tracks obviously what you do as a PC gamer on the Steam platform. So anything that you've done across console, and most consoles do this thing now too. So you'll get, you know, your Xbox year in review, your PlayStation year in review, your Switch year in review. But even on PC, you end up playing games through other platforms as well that don't show up here. So it's not a true look at everything you've done. But, you know, Steam is the largest PC platform. And most people, if they're playing games on PC, they're playing a good chunk of them at least on Steam. And it's a cool look at what you've gotten taken care of. It's pretty neat. I'm not diving into gaming Bible stuff. It's too clickbaity. Outgoing Nexon CEO has some tough love for the gaming industry, huh? Let's see what's being said here. Yep. We will put this up here. Insomniac hackers have leaked 1.3 million files after Sony fails to pay up. We knew, I mean, it was, okay, too many requests also. All right, fun. Well, I was pretty sure that Sony wouldn't pay up. So it was kind of inevitable. I think that we were going to end up dealing with the leaks here. I didn't think we would really need that article because we'd get most of it in these other two that we already have pulled up, but I was going to pull it up just in case. Yeah, we'll be fine. Bend Studio and Naughty Dog worked on an unannounced project. Let's see if we can get some info on what that might have been or is. Terrence Force Handle 5 gaming hand. I've never heard of this. Let's take a look though. Yeah, we covered this yesterday. This is a pretty, I mean, I don't care how old it is. The banning the resale of physical PS5 games is disgusting. If you own something, you should be able to resell it. Not copy it or anything like that, but if you're finished with that piece of merchandise, you don't want it anymore or whatever, you should be able to sell it or give it away or whatever. Sony wants PS5 games to automatically adjust the difficulty while you play? No. No, 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 no. I'm not about that. Yeah, James McCaffrey passed away. Voiced both Max Payne as well as some other notable characters from a lot of the games out of God, why am I blanking that developer's name right now? Jesus, I'm tripping, dude. Who else did he voice? He was even in the game we're playing now, which is Alan Wake 2. Yeah. He was Alex Casey, the voice of Alex Casey in Alan Wake and Alan Wake 2. Remedy, Jesus, man, I haven't had enough coffee this morning. Yeah, I actually posted about this in Discord last night. Game Pass announces final departures for the subscription service for this year. We might have already kind of talked about this or seen this, but let's look. Let's see what this is. Mind-blowingly open-ended RPG might be the next Baldur's Gate 3. That's some high standards to be comparing to there all the way across the board, but we'll see. Are you flipping kidding me? So Glenn Schofield, the original creative mind behind the Dead Space games and most recently the Callisto Protocol, which wasn't consensus very good, has now teased their next game after they left the studio that they created to create the Callisto Protocol. Okay. Take a look at that too. Now meet me at the club, cause everyone going fresh meat at the club, and the drinks they be flowing. Gold chains, the ice be showing. If you ain't got a milli, you best be going. Meet me at the club. Everyone going. Meet me at the club. The drinks they be flowing. Meet me at the club. Everyone going. If you ain't got a milli, you best be going. Ring me on my phone, but there's nobody his. You can find me right at home, playing Gran Turismo. If you ask what I do, I'll tell you it's none of your business. And if you got a problem, I will knock you in the fizzer. Now meet me at the club, cause everyone going fresh meat at the club, and the drinks they be flowing. Gold chains, the ice be showing. If you ain't got a milli, you best be going. Meet me at the club. Everyone going. Yeah, I've talked about the epic stuff for weeks now. I'll talk about it again. You've got about 1 day left. A single day left. Actually, you got about 27 hours. 27 hours roughly to go grab your Destiny 2 Legacy Collection, which is like the first 3 complete DLCs for this game. You must have the base game in your library first, which is also free, but it isn't included with this Legacy Collection. But if you click on the Legacy Collection, you can click, there's a link in here, click here to get the Destiny 2 base game for free. You can grab it here, then come back in here and get the Legacy Collection also, okay? But you have to have that base game in your library first. But you've only got about 27 hours left to grab this Legacy Collection of DLC free to begin with. And then it will switch over to tomorrow morning, about 10 a.m. CST, our time, channel time. They're going to start doing their 24-hour, for roughly 2 weeks. They're going to be giving away a game every 24 hours. They'll cycle in and out. So you just need to be ready for that. Go ahead, get your account made if you don't already have one, and start getting prepared to get all your free content. It's a no-brainer. There's no reason not to, other than just being stubborn or lazy. And you're just missing out, really. There's a lot of great free games they're going to give away, and there's no reason not to be getting free content in the world of video games, which continues to get more and more expensive. If you can get free content, why not? Go make an account. You don't have to have their application. You can just do it on their website, and you can get to their store on the website as well if you don't want to use their application, and grab the free content. It's easy. Just do it. Yeah, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, and Steam year-end reviews are now live, so you can get all of those. I think Steam's just went live over within the past day. I just saw mine and linked it, and in the Discord and everything, so you can go take a look. It's pretty cool. It's a lot of cool information to look at. We already know that Nintendo's games are already starting to transition over into costing $70. They already have started that. Tears of the Kingdom was $70. That shouldn't be a surprise to people, all right? It sucks. I talked about it the other day, especially for a platform that their software never reduces in price, almost never goes on sale, you know, and they want to make you double dip all the time. Feels bad, but they're doing it. We'll hit one more page here. I don't think there'll probably be anything else in here, but we'll take a look. Yeah, dude. Just no work, bro. And you're just like hanging out. You got that team viewer going or what, dude? Literally nothing was done today, Jesus. That makes for a long work day, though, dude. Just sitting there being bored, you know. Unless you have something else to keep you busy. Oh, yeah, another free game on GOG as well. I'll pull that up for everybody. And, yeah, congrats to Sea of Stars, dude. Sea of Stars is supposed to be an absolute banger. It's a very retro-styled RPG. They hit over 4 million players now, or retail sales, I think, of what it is. And our new player record, I guess, is what they're looking at there. This game has continued to rake in indie awards and stuff, and good for them, dude. This game is supposed to be very, very good. We might try to get it played this coming year. I love the retro-styled RPGs and everything, so we'll see if we can get it into the schedule, okay? No team viewer set up on the PC. Bummer. Word. Alright, let's get into these articles. Game Pass announces final departures of 2023. So 2 more games are going to leave before the end of the year. As a matter of fact, they will be leaving on December 31st, so the last day of the year. Neither game is super notable. One of the games is now free to play since being added to the subscription service anyway, so it doesn't even matter. The other is normally $25 though. The now free to play game Naraka Blade Point is the one that is free to play, obviously, like I said. And then Monster Train. Wait, what? Monster Train is notable. Debuted in 2020. Bit of a cult hit. Very positive reception. Yeah. This is supposed to be a very good game, by the way. Monster Train is. Roguelite elements to it and stuff. It's supposed to be a very good game. So, if you're not familiar with either, well, I mean, Naraka Blade Point's whatever. You can play this game for free whenever you want now. But Monster Train's one that I would recommend if people have any interest in this. Go get a taste of this game before it goes away at the end of December. Okay, I'll link this in case you want to take a look at it. Mind-blowingly open-ended RPG might be the next Baldur's Gate 3 if you have the patience. You could wipe out an entire town by just turning everyone against each other. That sounds fun. Witchstone is a Magitech fantasy western where you can Shanghai practically anyone into your party and kill any quest giver. Just a second, 1 second, guys. All right, sorry guys. Let's see this. How long is this? 14 minutes. How about we look at Unforetold Witchstone? Yeah, I thought we saw this recently. It was on the PC gaming show Most Wanted. Let me see this. There it was. Jesus. I can't spell. Alright, here it is. So its release date is going to be January 25th of the coming year. So it's not too far away.
Factions, empires, gods. They rise and they fall. The actions of individuals set the course of history. And you are one of them.
Now, if you're going to compare a game to BG3, I mean, that's a bold prediction there, you know?
How will you shape fate?
So I will link this in case anybody's interested, and then we'll read more about this, okay? There you go. The Spearhead game CRPG almost evokes Larian's first Divinity Original Sin game in its presentation, but instead of pursuing cinematic RPG production values, Witchstone is like an alternate evolutionary path emphasizing the construction of an open-ended RPG sandbox. Quote, freedom alone is cool, but you want that world to respond. In tabletop, you have a game master, you have other players, there's always a response, explains Spearhead co-founder and creative director Malik Bukira in an expanded interview with PC Gamer, noting that real video game freedom is also about creativity, feeling clever, feeling like you did things your way. The RPG's promised influence system sounds like almost nothing I've seen in an RPG. You can turn up the charm on any NPC in the game using your capacity for persuasion, intimidation, or downright lying to get anybody to do practically anything. We have recommended companions, but essentially anyone in the world could be your companion and take you all the way to your very end goal. Bukira reveals, our very own Fraser Brown used intimidation to browbeat random townspeople into his party in a hands-on demo experience, but you'll need the right tool for a given job. A brave and courageous warrior might not respond very well to physical threats. Bukira caveats, but maybe they're a bit gullible and you can sweet-talk them. Even with this more systematic reactivity, Witchstone will still have recommended companions who resemble your more traditional RPG buds with fleshed out dialogue interactions, personal goals that may conflict with yours, the works. The only other time I've seen anything like this was in Trioca Games' cult classic Arcanum of Steamworks and Magic Obscura, which you could eventually recruit and train of henchmen following you everywhere if you had enough charisma, but even that game had its limits. My mind's been set on fire at the character building potential. Moving persuasion dialogue from specific skill gates into this more general system opens it up to being one of the most powerful paths you could choose, a master manipulator with the world wrapped around their finger. Bukira cites framing a faction leader for the murder of one of his lieutenants as a potential strategy opened up by this influence system, and he even posits that if you have the patience, you could wipe out an entire town by just turning everyone against each other. All of this dialogue-focused gameplay is layered on top of the kind of crunchy, tactical, turn-based RPG I know and love. Sounds like you don't even have to engage with the influence system very much if you don't feel like it. You, the player, could just as easily be that brave, courageous, gullible warrior Bukira described above. All of this is adding up to one of my most anticipated games of next year, Unforetold Witchstone, slated to release January 25th. Yep. Interesting. I mean, the premise of that sounds very good. Whether or not it gets implemented in a fully fleshed out way like that, we'll have to see. But it sounds very interesting, right? I think that that's still something that is not entirely there in most games you play, where it's, you know, as open as Baldur's Gate 3 feels, it's still not entirely free, if you will. Like, you can't do this kind of thing. You can't just, you know, address any character in the game and potentially, you know, see what kind of class or they are or whatever, and try and turn them over to being a part of your team. It just doesn't work like that, right? That's a pretty intriguing mechanic in a game like this. The more we keep, you know, and I say we as referring to the industry, the more the industry keeps creating games and evolving, you know, RPGs in this manner, the more we're going to continue to progress and get truly open, free games where you're not regulated at all in what, you know, you're gate-kept from doing. You can do whatever you want. Yeah. It's gonna be a truly open kind of world for you to navigate, manipulate, as opposed to quite often, and even in Baldur's Gate 3, you still are gate kept from certain things. Like, I mean, you know, obviously you can only get, you can recruit, you can like create other characters to be part of your team. You can, there are certain, you know, certain characters that are meant to be potentially part of your crew, but you can't just go recruit anybody you want, you know, which is a promising integration if it's actually going to work the way they say it does here. It's pretty interesting. Dead Space, the Callisto Protocol creator teases next game. Jesus. Glenn Schofield. I don't know what to think about this. The Callisto Protocol creator is almost ready to talk about his next new and exciting game. So I'll read this and I'll give you a bit of my own perception of this whole Glenn Schofield situation here. Because they'll probably talk about the fact that he's left the studio he created specifically to develop the Callisto Protocol and stuff like that. And I don't understand what's going on here. Glenn Schofield has been working in video game development since '91, became well known in the industry after executive producing the original Dead Space. While he wasn't involved in the sequel, Schofield took what he learned while making the game to work with PUBG developer Crafton to make the Callisto Protocol. Unfortunately, that game failed to meet its sales goals, and Schofield voluntarily left developer Striking Distance Studios back in September. That said, it seems like the veteran developer won't be resting too long before he moves on to his next project, as he started to drop teasers on Twitter. Schofield's tweet doesn't give anything away about what he might be working on. He simply says, "Although I've taken some time off, I've been extremely busy and not just drawing. Something in games that's new and exciting. Can't wait to share more after the new year." At this stage, it's impossible to say what Schofield's next project is. His LinkedIn page says that he's working with Art by Schofield, which is obviously his own project, without any kind of studio currently attached to his next game. We can't predict what direction this project will eventually take. That said, since making Dead Space, everything Schofield has worked on has been some type of shooter. From The Godfather 2 to Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, his recent catalog certainly suggests that his next project would involve gun-based combat. However, if he's really trying to do something new and exciting, maybe his next project will explore something completely different. Fortunately, we should be hearing about whatever's coming next for Schofield. Will there be a Callisto Protocol 2? Probably not. While the Callisto Protocol didn't perform well at launch, many fans still want to see a sequel. Most likely, those hopes won't be realized. Prior to the game's release, Schofield did say that he had ideas for a sequel, but with him out of the picture at Striking Distance Studios, those ideas won't be happening, at least not from him. Plus, the game's Final Transmission DLC seemed to wrap things up, potentially hinting that the studio is finished with Jacob's story. And with Dead Space Remake doing so well for EA this year, and let's be fair, Callisto Protocol released first, and it didn't release in a great state, and it didn't release to a great reception by the gaming community, which really set the table for Dead Space Remake to do very well if it was a decently made game, and it was. So EA actually did something decent. They did a pretty solid job with Dead Space Remake, and Callisto Protocol set the table for it, man. The more likely scenario seems to be that players have a much better chance of a Dead Space 2 remake than they do for Callisto Protocol 2. Yep. Of course, neither game has been announced, but the former seems like a foregone conclusion at this point. Obviously not exactly what the Callisto Protocol fans want, but a future Dead Space 2 remake might be the closest we get to something more from the franchise. I've already talked about this. Dead Space 2 is going to be very easy because they've already got a ton of assets made for it. A lot of Dead Space 2 is going to be the same stuff from Dead Space 1. It's just, so you're not going to have to truly ground up that entire game. So, if you recall, Dead Space 2 replayed through a lot of the same levels. They were just kind of altered a bit aesthetically. And I mean, there's going to still be work to be done, but a lot of the assets and everything that need to be done for Dead Space 2 are already there from the Dead Space 1 remake. So it's really kind of inevitable that we see a Dead Space 2 remake. It just makes sense. Yeah, Callisto Protocol is available on PlayStation, Xbox, PC platforms. I think there's actually a huge sale at GameStop right now on Callisto Protocol. You can get it for like $5. And Dead Space Remake is available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. This whole Glenn Schofield thing, you know, Callisto Protocol was supposed to be the spiritual successor to Dead Space, right? And it didn't click for most people. Most people that played Callisto Protocol were like, this is not it, dude. And then Dead Space Remake came out and they were like, this is it. Which Schofield had nothing to do with. And Striking Distance Studios was led by him. It was set up really with him in mind to lead these kinds of projects. And then, you know, whenever Callisto Protocol didn't do well, he was like, all right, I'm out. And I don't know all the ins and outs there, but that's got to feel kind of bad to a lot of people that came in to work for that company because of him specifically. So now he's like, okay, well, that didn't work out, so I'm going to leave and just do my own thing. I don't really know what to think about Glenn Schofield right now, to be honest. Give me 1 second, guys. 1 minute. It is a chilly flippin' day, man. It's cold. Oh, yeah. $18 degrees Fahrenheit, feels like 10 with the wind chill. Oh, yes. Feeling very, very chilly. I can feel it. GOG has updated its winter sale with another free game. Lost Ruins is the second of 5 titles being given away. Lost Ruins and now free to download until December 21st at 2 p.m. at UTC. To claim the game, players are required to opt in to receive a GOG marketing emails. Lost Ruins is a 2D side-scrolling survival action game where you play as a young girl that has awoken in a strange and foreign place without her memories, according to its store listing. Explore a dark and dangerous world, battle hideous monsters, and topple incredible bosses. Excuse me. Developed by Altari Games and published by Dangan Entertainment, the title was released in 2021 and has a score of 59 on review aggregation site Metacritic. By the way of comparison, Lost Ruins currently costs $20 US on Steam, usually costs $20 US on Epic, but is currently discounted to $10. Lost Ruins is the second of 5 titles GOG will be giving away during its winter sale, which includes over 6,000 offers and discounts of up to 90% off, according to CD Projekt Red, who owns the platform. Yeah, previously gave away Legend of the Keeper's Career of a Dungeon Manager. Yep. Here's the trailer for Lost Ruins, alright? I like the animation. Samurai Snowman. Looks dope, dude. Looks dope. Yeah, Epic Game Store has also launched its holiday sale last week. Lots of sales we've talked about, we've looked at it, but if you're interested here, I'll link this for you guys, okay? There you go. Bend Studio and Naughty Dog worked on an unannounced project. Okay, let's take a look at this. It was recently discovered through information written up on the LinkedIn page of a senior gameplay animator that Bend Studio and Naughty Dog were, at least for some time, working on an unannounced project together. In the job history of Adam Lawson, who has since moved on to Archetype Entertainment, it was written that he worked on an unannounced Bend Studio and Naughty Dog project. Since the revelation surfaced online, courtesy of FaZe Shike 7681 on Twitter, gamers have been throwing names into the pot to suggest what that project could have been. Most likely scenario for many, the hope is that Bend would have been working on a Days Gone 2 or a new Siphon Filter game, but those are seemingly increasingly unlikely as time goes on. We know that Days Gone 2 was shot down internally some time ago, and Siphon Filter hasn't been seen for more than 15 years, so that's a pipe dream. Instead, the most likely scenario seems like a joint operation between Bend and Naughty Dog to develop either The Last of Us Online or an Uncharted game of some description. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering about that. That's all there is for that. Terran Force Handle 5 gaming handheld. Ryzen 7 Pro 7840U, which is the same processor that most modern handhelds are rocking. A Radeon 780M 1080p 120Hz display. The new Terran Force Handle 5 is a high-end gaming handheld powered by AMD Ryzen 7. I've never heard of this company. Seen a bunch of different portable gaming handhelds powered by AMD Ryzen APUs, with another announced introducing the new Terrence Force 5 handheld. Check it out. Terrence Force 5 is a new handheld powered by, as we've said 5 times now, the Ryzen 7 Pro 7840U APU, offering 8 cores, 16 threads, up to 5.1 GHz with integrated AMD Radeon 780M graphics, packing 12 GPU cores, clocking at up to 2700 MHz. The handheld features a 7-inch 1080p touchscreen display at 120 Hz with 100% sRGB color gamut coverage and maximum brightness of 450 nits. Can come with either 16 or 32 gigs of RAM. Storage side of things comes with a 1 terabyte M.2 solid state drive. Can be upgraded to a larger 2 terabyte capacity as well. 50 watt battery, which is becoming the norm for handhelds now. Connectivity includes Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.2, USB 4.0 ports, and micro SD card slot. Gives you plenty of options for expanding storage. Included Hall effect analog sticks. Tom's Hardware noting these sticks are immune to pesky long-term joystick drifts. Features a rage mode. Temporarily boosts to 28 watts. Interesting addition. Very cool to see. You can see wait, what? That doesn't make any sense. Looks like the price is going to be somewhere between like probably $700 to $1,000 US, somewhere like that, depending on options. Okay, if you want to take a look, like, I'm not familiar with this manufacturer, so I highly recommend, if anybody's interested, you look into their support ratings. That's a notable amount of money to be spending on a piece of hardware, and you want to make sure that you're going to be taken care of for a substantial amount of time if something were to happen. And so while hardware wise this seems like a fairly nice device, you're always going to be also need to be concerned with how consumer friendly is it, how good are their warranties, how good is their customer support, things like that. So you need to look into that kind of thing, because I am not familiar with this company at all. Sony wants PS5 games to automatically adjust the difficulty while you play. Do not do this to me. I do not want this at all, ever, in my gameplay. Ever. Unless I'm playing a game that inherently doesn't give me difficulty options and feels really soft. The only way I ever want this to be something that I experience in a game is in that scenario. If I'm playing a game that feels terribly soft and I can turn this on to where it'll make the game harder, fine. Otherwise, I don't want this. Because here's what I'm afraid of. Yo, what up, True? How you doing, friendo? Here's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of playing a game like Elden Ring, right? Playing a game like Elden Ring, and then, you know, you die 200 times to a boss, and as you're dying throughout those tries, the game goes, oh, we need to decrease the difficulty for you. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. That's not for a game player like me. The opposite side of the coin, if a game feels very, very easy and it's willing to increase the difficulty, cool. Give it to me, you know? Don't you dare. That's right, True. Don't you dare. So it depends on the way they implement this, you know? And you would hope it would just be an option that people don't have to deal with if they don't want to. You would expect it to be like that, but we'll see, you know? How you doing, True? Happy Tuesday. What's going on? While this article will undoubtedly be read by numerous people who have the platinum in Elden Ring, it's worth remembering the gaming has massive global appeal these days. Not everyone is capable of beating Melania while blindfolded with a Buzz controller. Sony's worked really hard to ensure players of all abilities can beat its first-party games, but a new patent recognizes that it still has work to do. The platform holder has patented a innovative new technology that sounds a lot like dynamic difficulty. Spotted by Insider Gaming, the idea essentially uses an algorithm to understand how people are playing, then adjust the mechanics accordingly depending on what it determines. This could in theory make combat encounters more manageable or even provide more assistance with puzzles if it detects players are getting stuck. The idea is to make the path to progression smoother for everyone, and of course it can work in the opposite way as well. If the algorithm decides that the player is blasting through the gameplay without any obstruction, it could theoretically tune the difficulty to provide a greater challenge. The ultimate goal is to tailor the experience to each personal playstyle, providing a satisfying experience for everyone. Obviously, it sounds great on paper, but it may be difficult to implement effectively. Developers spend thousands and thousands of man-hours tuning their games to provide an optimal experience for all abilities, and unless this algorithm is watertight, could end up interfering with the designer's intention. Absolutely. We're not surprised a patent like this exists. It does seem like an obvious step for the industry to take. We just reckon it'll take a little more time before the idea is fully realized. Yeah. At least this is my at least let me turn it off completely. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yep. Just don't force it on me, dude. I'm all about options in gaming. I think the more options you can give people, the better. Everybody needs to be able to play games to the greatest extent of what allows them to get pleasure out of the gaming experience. But that's what options are. You let people decide that for themselves, right? You don't force it on people. I'm cool with that. Right, exactly. Yeah. I'm good. Yep. A little bit tired today. It's flipping cold today. I can feel it, dude. I can feel it. And just like, it's like 18 Fahrenheit. Feels like 10 with the wind chill. You know, it's cold. It's cold. I actually posted this in Discord last night, dude. This feels bad. Fans share iconic Max Payne clips following James McCaffrey's death. The word badass gets thrown around a lot, but he was truly worthy of the phrase. Following the death of James McCaffrey, fans have taken to social media to share his best moments from the Max Payne series. McCaffrey died on Sunday, December 17th, after being diagnosed with multiple melanoma. What is that? Myeloma? McCaffrey provided the voice of tough anti-hero Max Payne in the beloved franchise of the same name. Payne was a New York City police detective turned vigilante after his family was murdered, with the neo-noir games going on to explore city-wide conspiracies. McCaffrey featured in the 2001 and 2003's follow-up Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne, and the final installment of the trilogy, Max Payne 3, also provided motion capture for that title, while the series has gone on to shift over 7.5 million units worldwide. I think that's supposed to be shipped. McCaffrey also had a cameo in 2008's Hollywood adaptation of Max Payne, which starred Mark Wahlberg as the titular character alongside Mila Kunis. Elsewhere, McCaffrey starred as FBI agent Alex Casey in 2010's Alan Wake and reprised his role for this year's celebrated sequel, Alan Wake 2. He also had roles in 2019's Control and 2008's Alone in the Dark. Is that what it's blood cancer? Okay, thanks. I was pretty sure it was a cancer, but I didn't know what kind. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks, True. Awesome. I mean, not awesome. The big C's terrible. It sucks. Paying tribute to McCaffrey, Remedy Entertainment Sam Lake wrote, "I'm heartbroken to hear the sad news of James McCaffrey's passing. We worked together for more than 25 years. He was a lovely man and a dear friend. Key part of the Remedy family. He was a brilliant actor. No one could do what he did better than him. James was Max Payne, Thomas Zane, Zachariah Trench, and finally Alex Casey. He was a joy to work with. I will cherish his memory, and I miss him." He continued, "My deepest condolences to his family. Rest in peace, Jim." Following the news, fans have praised McCaffrey's performance as Max Payne. Quote, his warm growl of a voice was a welcome presence in so many games. The word badass gets thrown around a lot, but he was truly worthy of the phrase, wrote one fan before sharing an iconic clip from Max Payne 3. Other fans have shared Max Payne's first impressive appearance and called James McCaffrey a very unique, irreplaceable presence. They've got a bunch of different tributes you can check out down here that are posted on social media if you want. Yeah, rip, dude. Lost a legend for all of these games, man. Huge defining presence and voice behind these characters, and so many of us have become accustomed to. Even if people didn't know, you know. Yeah, F's in chat, dude. Yeah. So, even if people didn't know, now you'll probably know, right? I think it's one of those things where quite often people just you don't always know who the voices are behind some of these characters that you develop these kind of relationships with in the games you play and everything. But you know, they're really, a lot of these voice actors and you know, they bring these characters to life for us and make it so much more immersive. So yeah, F's in chat. Rip, dude. Heart and thoughts go out to the you know, friends and family that are struggling with this loss right now. Yeah. Thanks to James McCaffrey, man. Timeline of future Insomniac game releases leaked. Yeah, dude. Let's go with all that stuff last. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, True. Scalpers are selling the day before for $200, guys. The world's so weird. The day before will possibly go down as the worst game in history, or at least the game backed by the worst developer in history. In recent weeks, the day before suffered from an implosion, the open-world survival game's long-awaited release finally arriving, but signaling the end of Fantastic, the game's developer, within a matter of days. That's right, the day before's developer shut itself down mere days after the release of the game it had been building for years, stating it wasn't financially successful and it couldn't continue to support it, as the game the day before excuse me, was an actual wreck, and it quickly became a laughingstock online. Now that it has been delisted, rogue keys are being scalped, bearing price tags of up to $200 online. Don't try it. If you're willing to pay $200 for the day before, which originally cost around $40, which was still way too much, then that's your prerogative. I'd advise against doing that, though. It's really a broken, unstable game that probably rot the inside of your PC within a matter of minutes, provided it doesn't rot your brain first. There are absolutely no redeeming features wrapped up within the abysmal package that is the day before, but that's partly why people want it. They still want to judge for themselves if it's that bad. It's that bad. Now that the day before has been removed from Steam, we're seeing accounts bearing the game being listed for up to $1,000. People attempting to sell individual keys online for as much as $200. It's mind-boggling how that, but that's how it works. It sold around 200,000 copies, but more than half of those copies were refunded a mere day later. It's fast becoming one of the rarest, most historic games to own. That's why scalpers are ramping up the price. Excuse me. Do you have a copy of the day before sitting in your Steam library? Excuse me. Yeah, this is a disgusting way that the world works. You know, it's really stupid. It's, you know, it's supply and demand for something that doesn't and nobody should want. There's this limited amount of supply to meet an obviously some kind of weird demand for a product that nobody should give a crap about. This game should only exist as a lesson. Yeah, exactly, true. Which is the same thing that I talk about all the time with the scummy crap that happens in the game industry every single day. The kind of crap, especially, I talk about the console side of the industry and the stuff they get away with all the time because people are willing to pay it. People pay it. And so it keeps happening, It's so stupid. You know, these terrible developers, you know, the stuff they get away with because people pay it. Modern Warfare 3 hasn't even been out. What has it been out a month now? Yeah, like a month and a week, roughly. Almost a month and a half. Modern Warfare 3 has been out almost a month and a half, and it's already close to being the highest selling game on Steam for the entire year, over Hogwarts Legacy, which came out at the beginning of the year. And it's a 30% positive rated game on Steam. You know, I mean, it's like, why are people buying it? You know, if it's so bad. Exactly. You know, but I mean, this is the world we live in. But I mean, that's also why we do the news. We try to educate. This is just another iteration of like, people are, this is the mindset. People are stupid for doing this. I'm sorry. If you're willing to pay into, anybody that was willing to pay $40 for that game, I felt was ridiculous. I understood that there was a little bit of just curiosity there, but I knew that that game was going to be a hot bag of crap. Most people knew that game was going to be a trash bag. There was just some curiosity there because of the weirdness that surrounded this game for such a long time, the hype build up, and you know, I guess it's continued to build even more after the game got delisted and stuff too, which is just so stupid. You know, I just don't see how people cannot just like let it go. It's a bag of crap, dude. Everybody, you can just go take a look anywhere. They'll tell you it's a bag. You don't need to try it. You really don't need to try this game for people to, you know, for you to find out that it's just a hot piece of trash, dude. And if you're, I mean, honestly, if you're willing to spend any money on this right now, I mean, it you know, it goes back to that whole thing I was saying the other day, like the sentiment about like Tide Pods and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know, man. You know, I can't help those kinds of people. You just can't help them, dude. There's just a certain you know amount of people in the world that you just can't help, man. And it is what it is. That's all. And I don't think you can chalk it up to anything else besides that. This is ridiculous. Outgoing Nexon CEO has some tough love for the gaming industry. Outgoing Nexon CEO Owen Mahoney has some searing criticism for the video gaming industry, but he doesn't want people to think he's being overly negative. It's helpful, he tells Axios, to be really clear about the things that get in your way, why it matters. Mahoney is certainly proud of his own company, nevertheless believes the big budget gaming business is falling behind on innovation and losing its way. I agree. Most AAA studios are, and I've been calling them out for a long time, same thing with like Naughty Dog right now. I've been calling Naughty Dog out for this. They what's the you know, there's no innovation there. There's no creativity. They aren't making anything new. They're remastering a game that's 3 years old. Get wrecked. You guys suck. You're scared. You're scared to do anything new. You're not creative. You know. It's disgusting to watch it. Mahoney is worth listening to. Nexon, founded in South Korea and operating out of Japan, is a rising force in gaming, boasting not just extraordinary 20-year franchises like MapleStory, but now producing crossover hits like Dave the Diver, which is actually from Mint Rocket, that is a subsidiary of Nexon, and The Finals, whose studio Nexon bought in 2019. Mahoney ran corporate development at Electronic Arts for 9 years, joined Nexon as CFO in 2010, and has been CEO for the last 10 years. He's exiting in March, saying it's time to pass the torch. What they're saying, quote, our industry is in deep trouble right now. I think because of throwing bodies at the problem of game development. Big budget games are now made by hundreds of people, sometimes more than 1,000, which Mahoney believes keeps creators far too removed from the creative process. I agree. And that's why I said that I think it's really smart that Nexon did something like what they did with Mint Rocket. Dave the Diver's a banger of a game. And what they did with Mint Rocket is they took a small team of very good developers that had a good synergy together and they pushed them over to a pocket where their process wasn't being messed with. And they said, go ahead and work on this. And they came up with something amazing. And I think that needs to happen more often. I think that's a great way for larger developers to take a look at how to develop games moving forward. Get these groups, find groups of developers and teams that synergize well together, and let them have some nice, freedom to work with a creative process without it just being totally overrun by management and business-minded people and stuff like that. I think that's one of the big reasons, I talk about this a lot, that we get so many great things out of the indie side of the industry. Indie developers, they don't have that, right? Obviously, they don't have as many resources to invest in their projects and stuff, but we often get much more innovative, creative, fun gameplay experiences out of the indie side of the industry because they are able to just give us everything that comes to them for these masterful kind of pieces of art, gaming wise, and nobody's messing with their process. Unsurprisingly, he presents the finals built by a core team of 100 people at Embark as an example of a better approach. Developers making games is what you really want, he added. You want your guys sitting in front of a whiteboard arguing about a feature. You don't want them sweating about how they're going to hire another 400 people. Mahoney laments an industry laden with $100 million projects, but won't say just what the finals cost. His preferred smaller team approach, he hints, is an additional zero off the top. Between the lines, Mahoney also takes aim at the industry's preoccupation with better and better visuals. Thank you! Oh my god! Which are one of the reasons for such massive development teams and what he sees as innovation stagnation. I already like this guy. We've been talking. Look, I mean, dude, this is a sentiment that I've expressed for so long. For myself, if a game looks great, awesome. That's cool. It's like a cherry on top, right? Awesome. There are a lot of different art styles that can make a game look fantastic, though, right? It doesn't need to look realistic necessarily. You can make pixel games look amazing. There's a lot of different art styles that can work very, very well in gaming. And first and foremost, what should be, in my opinion, I've been very vocal about this, in my opinion, what should be at the forefront of a developer's concern is gameplay, right? How fun is the game? What are you bringing to the table for us to actually do inside this piece of software? As well as how polished is it? Bringing us a nice finished product. And then, if it looks amazing, awesome. That's great. But I'll tell you this, and it's happened to me time and time and time again. I've played plenty of games that weren't of an, amazing graphical fidelity or anything, that were absolute bangers because they were so fun to play, very inventive gameplay, and I'm always going to be more concerned with how much fun I'm having as what I'm able to do in the game as opposed to what I'm looking at. Because I'd rather have that first. I'd rather have great gameplay, polished, finished, mechanics and everything than a visual experience. Absolutely. Every single day, every game I play. We've been talking about cinematic graphics and sound since the days of the PS2, he says. I would like our industry to come out with more fun. There's a lot of people like me in the industry, so I think we have to fight for that. Yeah. Dude, I'm right here. I'm right here with this. The thing that I think kind of blew me away was how many people, I think one of the reasons that developers tend to focus on like the graphical fidelity of the games they make is because it's asked for by consumers, which is weird to me. I've talked to so many, and I think a lot of it comes from a younger generation too. Younger generation of gamers also is there. It's all about what a game looks like first and foremost. You know, what's it look like? What's it look like? What's it look like? And it's like, you know, that just kind of boggles my mind. You know, when it really is, in my opinion, and I'll remain steadfast on this, it should be the least of your concerns. You should be much more interested with what the game's bringing to the table as far as you know, what you're engaging in as a game player, and is it polished enough that you can actually enjoy the experience? I mean, how many times let me give you how many times have we had a game come out that, you know, they keep talking to, you know, they give you trailer after trailer after trailer of how good a game looks, right? And then the game releases and you can't even hardly play the game because it's just totally unfinished and everything. And you know that a big part of what they were having to try to focus on was that side of the development, trying to make it look as good as possible, when really what they should have been focused on was polishing up the gameplay experience, getting rid of bugs, things like that. But there's this weird, and I didn't really understand until I started talking to more and more people and kind of surveying more and more people. There seems to be a large amount of people that are gamers and consumers of in the gaming, you know, industry that have a preference of what a game looks like first and foremost. And for me, it's like, how are you supposed to enjoy a gaming experience if, even if the game looks good, if it doesn't play good? That should be the last thing you care about. What it, you know, ultimately overall looks like. So I definitely align with this individual very, very much. Owen Mahoney, I like what I'm hearing out of this guy. I wonder where he's going next. Interesting. It's a pretty good article here, man. I like this. Okay, the last of what I have here are actually a couple of articles coming out of all the information that got leaked from the Insomniac hacks. Okay, if you're not aware, Insomniac is the developer behind the Spider-Man titles. They're a first-party developer for Sony, right? So PlayStation, they developed the Spider-Man game. The game that they're fully focused on right now would be Wolverine, and they got hacked. It was in our news segment a couple of days ago that they were hacked by a ransomware group. A lot of information got taken about Wolverine, maybe other titles, as well as employee information potentially, and they were being held, all this information was being held for ransom for roughly $2 million, I think, something like that. But it's usually a pretty good bet that these companies are not going to pay these ransoms that are asked for. Most of the developers in the industry have a united front. They go, we don't cave to these malicious actors. We don't pay for this stuff. And we were pretty sure there's going to be information that got leaked. Now, I am going to preface this with a statement and a sentiment that I have to repeat over and over, which is that I do not think leaks are good for this industry. I don't think it's healthy As somebody who is always trying to promote a healthier industry, I think that the relationship between developers and publishers and ourselves as video game enthusiasts and consumers has been damaged for a long time on both sides of the coin. We've damaged our relationship with them. They've damaged the relationship with us for many different reasons. I've got an article on the YouTube channel that I published not too long ago speaking in depth about this sentiment. But ultimately, I don't think leaks are a good thing. I don't care if it's from a hack. I don't care if it's from an insider that got information and leaked it. Whatever the case may be, I don't think it's good for the industry. And ultimately, I think what people need to understand is that for developers, they're going to give us the information that we're supposed to have whenever they're ready to give it to us. By forcing their hands into, pushing them into a corner, forcing them into giving us information before they're ready to give us information, it messes with the project, it messes with their development process, and we already have enough games that come to the table to us unfinished. You know what I mean? And when we mess with that process, it's only creating more obstacles for them to have to deal with things that they weren't willing to deal with at that time. It messes with the project timeline. It messes with their process. We need to just give them the space they need to give us the information and the products and everything as they're ready to roll it out to us. It doesn't help anything by getting any of this information early. If anybody can contradict that for me, give me some good reasons as to why it is good that we get these leaks, by all means, shoot it to me. But I can't think of any, right? I agree, true. People just don't have patience, and therefore they're not willing to wait for the companies to give us the information they're going to give us anyways. We will get all of this in due time. We'll get all of this information whenever we're supposed to have it. But it doesn't help anything by people resorting to these tactics and making companies, forcing them into giving us this information early. It doesn't help anything. People need to chill out. So, with that being said, timeline of future Insomniac game releases have been leaked with this hack. As part of the major Insomniac leak that took place late Monday night, early Tuesday morning, the full timeline of future Insomniac game releases has also been leaked. In a slide that's allegedly dated from July of this year, the studio has at least 5 games planned for release between fiscal year 2025 and fiscal year 2030. Of the 5 games, only one of them has been publicly announced. The game that everyone knows about, what's coming, is Wolverine. And we've heard that Wolverine is probably going to release by 2025 sometime. We already kind of knew that. According to the aforementioned leaked timeline, it's not expected until fiscal year 2026. So we'll see what happens there. If you don't want to know the other games, don't expand the tab. I'll link this for you guys if you want to take a look. If Insomniac was ready to give us this information, they would have given it to us. So I'm not, like I said, the fact that I'm not a proponent of all this leaked information, I think it feeds a bad, way for us to move forward in this industry as a whole. I'm not going to look into it. I'm not going to look at it. I don't think it's good. If Insomniac wanted to give us this information, they would have given it to us. And I really just don't care to see it, So I'll link it. It's there for you guys if you want. But for me, I don't really care. Insomniac will give us the information when they're ready to give us the information. We'll find out inevitably. It'll come to us whenever Insomniac's ready to give it to us. And moving forward, segueing into the next part of this is from The Verge. Wolverine, part of a massive Insomniac Games leak after ransomware deadline passes. Risida has released over a terabyte of internal company data comprising over 1.3 million files after initially asking for a $2 million ransom, as I spoke about just a little bit ago. Footage of Insomniac's upcoming Wolverine game has started widely circulating on X after hackers published troves of internal data from its developer. Cyber Daily reports that a total of 1.67 terabytes of data comprising over 1.3 million files has been released by the Risida ransomware gang, which announced that it had stolen the data in a hack on December 12th. So roughly a week ago, right? At the time, the group announced an auction price for the data starting at 50 bitcoins, or roughly $2 million US, and a 7-day deadline to pay. I told you, everybody, that we should not be expecting Sony or Insomniac to pay this, and they didn't. Alongside level design and character materials from Wolverine, the leak seemingly includes several internal company presentations containing details on unannounced Insomniac and Sony games, screenshots of internal spreadsheets, and details on development and marketing budgets. Wolverine is reportedly named as the first in a trilogy of planned X-Men titles. I don't know that I want to read any more of that, to be honest. Video game studios have been the subject of several recent hacks. Footage from Grand Theft Auto 6 was released online last year after being hacked by Lapsus. Cyberpunk 2077 developer CD Projekt Red, Bandai Namco, and Riot have all disclosed attacks in recent years. Risida was the subject of a cybersecurity alert published last month that was co-authored by the U.S. Department of Justice and Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. The alert noted that Risida had been seen to use VPNs to connect to internal company systems from the outside, often using comprised credentials with organizations lacking MFA enabled by default. When contacted by Cyber Daily, a representative from Risida said that its attack was motivated by money. We knew that developers making games like this would be an easy target, they said. I'll link that one as well if anybody wants anything more out of it. But I'm not going to promote it, dude. I'm not going to promote this crap. You know, I've always been somebody that feels like this is not a good way for the industry to move forward. It's not good for either side of it. It's not good for us as consumers. It's not good for our relationship with publishers and developers, and vice versa. So, yeah, exactly, true. And I mean, and you know, that's a point that I was going to talk about as well, is like, you know, how many times do we find out about games years ahead of time? I mean, let's bring up an example right now, right? Let's talk about the multiplayer game that Naughty Dog was working on for The Last of Us. That game had been in development for 3 or 4 years, right? Everybody knew that game was in development, and now what happened to it? It's shut down. It's never going to come out, you know? And it's like, so what was the point in everybody finding out about it, right? Same thing here. You can't be sure that everything that you're finding out, even if it is true that they're working on this stuff, is even going to end up becoming come to fruition for us in the industry. Yeah. So what's the point in finding out about it? That's where you know, ultimately you're not gaining anything here. Even if you find out things about a game early and the game does end up becoming a legitimate product that you can get your hands on in the future, the things you find out about it early can potentially change as well. So even if it does end up becoming a full-fledged product, the things that you thought were going to be a part of it because of these leaks or whatever can end up changing also. And that's why it just doesn't make sense for anybody to put any kind of stock into these kinds of leaks and everything. Not only is the information potentially either going to change or be altered, you know, so it's not going to have any kind of real stock for the future, you know, longevity of what that game will be when it releases anyways, if it even releases. But it's just not good for the health of the industry, man, as a whole. And really, that's what it comes down to. You nailed it earlier, True, is people just need to have more patience. You just need to chill out, man. Give these companies a chance to give us the information when they're ready to give us the information. You know, you're not doing yourselves any favors. You're not doing these companies any favors by feeding this nonsense. So That's all I really have to say about it. I've got another article on YouTube. I'll link it real quick. If anybody's interested in my sentiments here, you want to make some comments or whatever and talk about this. But recently, published like at the December 7th, why video game information leaks are not healthy for the industry. On the YouTube page, you know. Yeah, that's exactly what I was just saying. You won't ever get the game. Yeah, that's what I was talking about just a second ago as well. True. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, I don't know, man. I think people just need to chill out. There's no point in you know, feeding this terrible. I mean, dude, and it's just rampant. You know, it's just nonstop. People trying to get information on games before, you know, the companies are even willing to release that kind of. It just doesn't quit, and it doesn't do anything for us. It doesn't help us. So I don't know, but that's what I got. That's my sentiments there, and I hope you guys are having a banger of a Tuesday, man. We're gonna have a great rest of our day playing some more Alan Wake 2. So if anybody's been able to hang out this morning, you're not familiar with what we do. This is our jam every single day, 6 days a week. We're live. We are off on Wednesday, so tomorrow will be our normal down day. But we start off at 6 a.m. CST, CDT, roughly 6 a.m. If I can get my butt out of bed on time. And then we always start off with video gaming news, like we just are concluding right now. And we work our way into playing video games for the rest of the day, like we're about to do. So, if anybody has been able to check this out, either live now or as a VOD later on, we've got most of our previous content, whether it be video gaming news, playthroughs we've done of video games we've played, funny clips and highlights, all that content on the Twitch channel as well as the YouTube channel. So you can go check out some of that content we've previously done. But you know, I'm always prompting people to come hang out with us when we are live. We've got a great community here. We're always trying to take care of one another, lift each other up, try to be a community that is all about actually, you know, having something substantial, you know, where we're actually trying to have a place where people truly care about and take care of each other, and be void of toxicity, be civil about things, be understanding, welcoming, you know. Doesn't mean we have to believe the same stuff. It's okay. We're human. Everybody's different. That's all right. As long as you're good people, you know what I mean? Be good people, and just be civil about things. It's a very important thing that I think is lost in a lot of the world nowadays. Just because you're different doesn't mean that's bad. Obviously, there's a difference between, you know, ethically and morally sound things that help people to be grounded as you know, good people. But we're all different, and that's all right. As long as you're you know, striving to be good people, man, you belong here with us, and you know, we're always looking for more people to be a part of what we do. So I guess other than that, man, stay healthy, stay safe, be kind to one another, and no content tomorrow. That's our normal day off, but we'll be back for more video gaming news on the 21st, on Thursday, and some more Baldur's Gate 3 as well with our buddy Pinky. All right, I'm gonna run us an outro, segue us into playing some video games. Stream's not going down, but just a nice little segue out of this new segment. All right, thanks guys.